Hi guys! So I read, how many books did I read on holiday? Let me check. I keep a book journal because I'm super nerdy, and also I really like keeping track of which books I've read and when. Like, I know how long it takes me as well. Because sometimes, you know, it takes a day, sometimes it takes months and months and months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books on holiday, not too shabby. I only have one of them in hard copy, unfortunately. But that's the first one, so we'll start off, you know, at the top, so to speak. This is Lun Dun by China Miéville? A friend of mine, Kat, recommended this to me. And this was a surprise in the sense that when I started it, I was kind of, because it starts off very, very typical, you know, questy story. You know, ordinary person gets plucked from ordinary life, transported to extraordinary world where they are the hero. And it starts off like that, and it's like that until that much of it passes really quickly. It's a really good read. That much of the book-ish is traditional questy stuff. And then from like this point on, it isn't, because the heroes, Xana and Diba, Xana is the chosen one, Diba is her best friend, and Xana is, you know, extraordinary person in ordinary world, plucked in and put into, you know, extraordinary position. It looks like it's all sorted, so she and Diba go back home, and Xana basically tries to put everything about it from her mind, but Diba finds out that all is not as it seems, and she goes back into Lun Dun to try and fix things, even though she doesn't have to, and even though she's not the chosen one. And that was, like, from then on, it was fantastic. It was so good. It was like kicking the traditional questy story in the balls. It was fantastic. I think one of my favourite things is that, you know how in questy stories there are like a set number of tasks that you have to complete, and this task relates to the next task, like you need the thing in the task before to complete the next task. And Diba, basically, she does one of the first tasks, and then after that she was like, that took us 3 days and we lost people along the way. We're not doing that anymore. Fuck the tasks. Let's skip the tasks and go straight to the end bit, the important task. That was just marvellous. I loved it. So yeah, I would definitely recommend Lun Dun. It was magical in all the best ways. Oh yeah, I read the Polyamory project, which it was on my Kindle. I think it's only available as an ebook, but basically it's just edited by someone called Jemima Willcox, and it's a bunch of polyamorous people who have been interviewed, and it's their interviews essentially in this compact little place. And it's really cool. It's really, really great. Like, it started off with basically just young women, and then as it went on, there were, you know, there were women, there were men, there was one genderqueer person. There was a huge crossover with BDSM community, which was really interesting. And all of this, their lifestyles, them telling the reader about their lives and the way that everything worked, and like the diversity of how it all worked was just really, really good. The diversity was very important, especially the way that they reacted to certain things, like jealousy being a huge issue in polyamorous relationships. Some people didn't get jealous at all, some people really had to work on it. It was a really big issue for them. But yeah, that was a really quick read. I read that on the plane as we were coming in. Like, I finished Lun Dun on the plane into Crete, and then same with Polyamory Project. Next book I read was Thief of Time by Terry Pratchett. I have a lot of Terry Pratchett's on the snake tank shelf behind me, but Aiden has pinched Thief of Time. I say pinched. He was the one who took it in the first place. I didn't even realise he'd taken it until we got there, and then I just forgot to unpack it from his stuff before he left here after we got back, so But yeah, it was one of the ones that I hadn't read before, and it was really, really good. I liked it a lot. You can't really go wrong with Pratchett, to be honest, can you? I love everything with Susan Stohillett. Spoilers for the end. I didn't really like the kind of shoehorned in, it seemed, potential romance between her and Lobsang. They had barely any interaction. It just seemed kind of pointless, and it irritated me. The next book I read was a book that was in the villa that we were staying in, called Honour Thy Father by Lesley Glaister, and it won an award of some sort. I want to say a Somerset something award. I can definitely see why, because it was really weird and really creepy and very fucked up, but it was definitely memorable. It's about these 4 sisters, and it's a non-linear timeline, so it switches between the present when they're all old ladies and their past, and it's from the perspective of the second eldest, Millie. And Agatha is the eldest, Millie's second eldest, and then there comes Ellen and Esther, who are twins, and they're kind of creepy twins. You know the ones I mean, like they always talk together, they always move in synchronization. On the back it mentioned that there was incest and murder and stuff like that, and the incest was kind of alluded to throughout the book. It might not be incest because Agatha might not have been her father's genetic daughter, but it was still fucking horrifying and really, really creepy. It was so sad and so tragic as well, because Millie was the only one who had any chance of really getting out of this house. But when their father died, when their father was killed, he left in his will the specification that they would only receive his trust fund money if they all stayed in the house together, so Millie is kind of trapped there and she's bitter about it for the rest of her life, and it's horrible. It was very memorable as a book. I would recommend reading it, but only if you're sure, you know, because there's a lot of triggery, horrible stuff in there. And the last book I read this all on the last day, which was no small feat, actually, considering it's quite a big book in real life, I think. I say in real life because I don't remember what it looks like in real life, because I've only got the ebooks. I read A Storm of Swords Part 1, all on the last day. And I'm not sure if I read it quickly because it was super engaging, or because I just had nothing else to do but wait in airports and on a plane. But it was good. But finally the Dornish have arrived. I'm so thrilled. I'm so pleased. I'm not really keeping up with the show anymore because the show is just kind of awful for lots and lots of reasons. But I'm gonna keep reading out of foolish hope for happier times. Today I just read The Red Wedding. Happier times.